We're good. I'm going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, March 21st, 2023 at 7 p.m. I'd like you all to please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thank you. We're going to have our invocation tonight by Pastor Jason Carr from the Eagle Christian Church. And I don't know if that got turned on up here, so you might have to turn the button on side. Turn it green. There we go. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, City Council members, residents of Star, thank you for inviting me tonight. Let's pray. Father God, Lord, we praise you and we thank you for who you are and for what you've done for us. God, we acknowledge you as Almighty King of the universe, and we praise you for that. And God, we thank you that you, in your love, sent your Son, that we might have a future and an eternity with you. God, tonight, I pray that we would submit to you, to your will, and that the leadership of your Son would be present in the leadership of this community. God, I pray that you would bless our conversation tonight, that it would be full of grace and mercy, transparency, and honesty. And God, I pray that together we would build a community that glorifies you and your Son. It's in the name of his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Roll call.
Kevin Wheelock.
Here.
Trevor Chadwick.
Here.
Jennifer Salmonson.
Here.
Kevin Nielsen.
Present.
And David Hershey is excused.
Councilman Hershey is excused. He's in the air somewhere trying to get back. So just real quick, everybody, we are having some technology challenges. We're trying to fix it. So we kind of backdoor this a little bit. You see that cord up there in the front. So the folks online, right, may not be able to see the screen. Dana? Won't be able to see the presentation, just so you're aware. But the presentations are posted on our City of Star website under meetings for tonight. So, all right, we're going to start off with some presentations and some proclamations actually tonight. We have 3 of them. I spread them out so you don't have to listen to me read them all tonight. So I'm going to start out with the Vietnam Veterans Day proclamation that we have. The City of Star, Idaho proclamation. Whereas the City of Star is proud to join in the national commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, and we reflect with a solemn reverence upon the valor of a generation that served with honor. And whereas we pay tribute to the more than 3 million servicemen and women who left their families to serve bravely a world away from everything they knew and everyone they loved. And whereas upon the conclusion of their service, Vietnam veterans returned home to a country deeply divided over the war. The service was not met with gratitude and pride, but often with protest and disrespect. And whereas we also remember and pay tribute to the approximately 58,000 Americans who lost their lives in service to our nation and the hundreds who are still missing in action. And whereas we remember that it is never too late to pay tribute to the men and women who answer the call of duty with courage. And whereas throughout this commemoration, we will strive to show our Vietnam veterans and all who have served the fullest respect and support of a grateful city and nation. Now, therefore, I, Trevor A. Chadwick, Mayor of Star, do hereby proclaim March 29, 2023 to be Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day, and I call upon our citizens to observe this day as an opportunity for the people of Star to honor and thank our Vietnam veterans for their sacrifices. And last November on Veterans Day, if you guys weren't able to attend, we had a really great ceremony over at Life Springs Church for a bunch of Vietnam veterans, commemorating them and giving them a 50-year pin. So it's with honor that we proclaim March 29th, Vietnam Veterans Day. So we're going to move on to the next one here, the Arbor Day proclamation. That would be Councilman Wheelock doing that.
2023 Arbor Day proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas the holiday called Arbor Day, first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce erosion by precious topsoil, by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving up paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase the property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Trevor A. Chadwick, voiced by Councilman Wheelock, Mayor of the City of Star, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day in the City of Star, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support the efforts and protect our trees and our woodlands. And further, I urge citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this for all and future generations.
Thank you. And we do in Star for many years, we actually on Arbor Day go out and plant trees with the fifth graders from Star Elementary. We plant one in our park, and then we hand out seedlings for all of them to go plant wherever they choose. So, which is great. All right. One more proclamation, which is the Week of the Young Child, and Miss Jennifer is going to read that one as a voiceover of me.
Thank you. All right. The proclamation for Week of the Young Child. Whereas the Idaho Association for the Education of Young Children, Idaho AEYC, is celebrating the Week of the Young Child, April 1st through the 7th of 2023. And whereas we are working to promote and inspire high-quality early childhood experiences for our state's youngest citizens that can provide a foundation of learning and success for children in the city of Star, Idaho. And whereas teachers and others who work with or on behalf of young children, birth through age 8, who make a difference in the lives of young children in the city of Star, deserve thanks and recognition. And whereas public policies that support early learning for all young children are crucial to young children's futures and to the prosperity of our society. And now, therefore, I, Trevor A. Chadwick, voiced by Jennifer Salmonson, Mayor of the City of Star, do hereby proclaim April 1st to the 7th, 2023 as the Week of the Young Child in Star, Idaho, and encourage all citizens to work to support and invest in early childhood in the City of Star.
Thank you. And I think today is the Week of the Child. We opened up a new playground, and man, that thing is packed over there. So I think everybody was eager to get out. So, all right, we'll move on to item 5, the consent agenda. Entertain a motion,
Yeah, Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda consisting of item 5A, the approval of claims, and item 5B, the findings of fact and conclusions of law for Medici Vista, Medici Hills annexation.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. We're going to move on to item 6, which I think everybody's here for, is the public hearings for Star River Ranch North subdivision. We're going to start out with that. I'm just going to let you guys know, if you don't know the process here, I need you to, if you wanted to speak to the public hearing, I think you still have them, right? Is that, Ryan, is that sign up sheets? If you want to sign up and you didn't sign up, I need you to sign up on a sheet to speak. I'll open the public hearing. I'll ask the council if there's any expert contact or communication. The applicant will have up to 20 minutes to present their project. The council can ask the applicant and staff questions during that presentation or after. And there'll be public testimony, which is 3 minutes per person. Those that signed up on the sheet and wish to speak those that are for the project will speak first. Those against it will speak next. and those that are neither for it or against it, or otherwise known as neutral, will speak third. The council may ask the individual follow-up questions that do not count towards the 3 minutes. And then the applicant will get a rebuttal time of 10 minutes. And at that time, the council can ask the applicant and staff more questions. I'll close the public hearing. The council is going to deliberate at that point. There either going to be a motion that is made to approve of conditions, deny, or table the application to a date certain in the future. Any questions from? No? So it is 7:10, and I'm going to open the public hearing for the Star River Ranch North subdivision. And I'm going to ask the council if they have any ex parte contact or communication regarding this project.
None.
No.
None.
Okay, hearing none, I'm going to have Sean, our city planner, is going to introduce the project. And bear with us, we totally changed everything in the last minute, so.
Mr. Mayor and
Ready on your
council, thank you.
laptop For that?
What's that?
You ready on your laptop?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, council, thank you. Yeah, before you this evening, a public hearing for the Star River Ranch North subdivision preliminary plat. This application has been tabled several times from July 7th, 2022, September 6th, 2022, and February 7th, 2023. The proposed preliminary plat contains 71 single-family residential lots and 12 common lots on 23.77 acres with a proposed residential density of 2.99 dwelling units per acre. Lots will have access and frontage from public streets owned and maintained by the Canyon Highway District Number 4. All application requirements, including submittals, agency transmittals, legal noticing, site posting, have been completed per the Unified Development Code. Regarding property history, on May 1st, 2007, City Council approved an application for Hidden Meadows subdivision annexation and zoning with a preliminary plat and an R5 zoning designation. Development consisted of 108 residential lots and 24 common lots on approximately 24 acres with an overall density of 4.5 dwelling units per acre. Obviously, it was not built. Shortly after 2007, everything fell apart. And so this property has sat vacant from that time forward. The preliminary plat did expire and the development agreement was never revoked. So it sat there. The application has been reviewed for compliance with the city comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance that was in place at the time of submittal of the applications. And this was done prior to the adoption of the 2022 Unified Development Code and Comprehensive Plan amendments. Agency reviews include Star Fire and Highway District Number 4, city engineer, and Compass. You have several neighbor letters within your packets, and also late exhibits that were submitted after the packets went out that were both emailed to you guys, and then also you have them in front of you this evening. Outstanding issues include detached sidewalks, side yard setbacks, block length waivers, and a new development agreement. Staff's analysis and recommendations. Annexation and zoning with an R5 zoning designation was approved for this property by the city in 2007. While the R5 zoning district is still in place for the property, the applicant has submitted a preliminary plat with an overall density of approximately 3 dwelling units per acre, which is consistent with the latest 2022 comprehensive plan future land use map, which designates the property as a state urban residential maximum of 3 units to the acre. The applicant is keeping the R5 zone, but staying with the intent of the updated plan. Because the application was submitted prior to the updated Unified Development Code in June of 2022, the design standards shall apply to this current preliminary plat. This includes the applicant submitted request for 5-foot side yard setbacks. Staff is supportive of the design, layout, and density of the proposed development application with the proposed conditions of approval that you have in your packets. This proposed development is much superior to the 2007 application and subdivision that was approved by the city with the R5 zoning and an approved 4.5 to 1 per acre density. Because the original development agreement is no longer active for the property, staff recommends that the applicant and council enter into a new agreement for the purpose of ITD proportionate shares and other council required conditions of approval for this development. Staff is also recommending that the council consider requiring the applicant to provide detached sidewalks to all internal streets in order to meet the current intent of the city regarding streetscapes. Based on the information provided to staff and the applications and agency comments received to date, staff finds that the proposed preliminary plat meets the requirements, standards, and intent for development as they relate to the Unified Development Code and the Comprehensive Plan that was in place at the time of submittal of the application. Council should consider the entire record and testimony presented at their scheduled public hearing prior to rendering its decision on the matter. Should the council vote to approve the application, either as presented or with the added conditions of approval, council shall direct staff to draft findings of fact and conclusions of law for the council to consider at a future date. Staff recommendation is for approval with the conditions. That was all.
Sorry, that is all. Thank you. So we're going to invite the applicant up. And do they have a presentation that you have, Sean? Okay.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
question for staff.
Okay. Sean, Councilman Nielsen has a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Can you share what occurred that made the original development agreement? I think your language was it's no longer viable or no longer applies. What occurred to?
The wording in the development agreement states that if the preliminary plat was not acted upon within a certain amount of time, that it would be null and void, and the city should take action to revert the property back to its original or back to a holding zone, like a transitional zone. And that was obviously never done. And so the property sits out there now with the R5 zone and a defunct development agreement.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions of Sean before I move on to the applicant? All right. And you got their applicant? Well, hang on. You disrupted him, so he's got to get this back up first.
I do, yeah. Okay. Okay, perfect. Yep, that's the right one. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Stephanie Hopkins with KM Engineering, 5725 North Discovery Way in Boise. Here representing our client, the developer for Star River Ranch North. Sean did a great job summarizing our request, preliminary plat tonight. So I'll kind of try to keep it pithy if I can. I would assume it's the left or the right arrow.
You have to point it towards him. If you don't have the dongle thingy attached to your laptop that we have to switch to, then it's not going to work. If it's that Logitech one, just put it on there or just advance it for.
It's buzzing, so I wonder.
All right, you can advance it.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Go to the next one, please. Yep, the next one's great. So we're requesting a preliminary plat tonight for 71 developable lots and 12 common lots. Sean mentioned that this property was already zoned, it's already zoned R5. That was done back in 2007. That development originally contemplated 108 buildable lots, so that would have been considerably more dense than what we are proposing this evening. In preparation for this application, we did meet with neighbors in January of last year. We submitted this application in, I think it was March or April of 2022. And in the past year, we've been coordinating with the reviewing agencies and making changes to the preliminary plat based on their comments. The primary entity we've been working with is CHD4, Canyon Highway District 4, on the local roads that we're proposing and drainage facilities. So we've made changes to the preliminary plat to accommodate their requests. And I'll show you the difference in the plats just so that we can kind of go through that.
You maybe won't.
I do have a hard copy that I can show to you all and hard copies of the presentation if that would be.
So right. So real quick here, I'm gonna take a recess here for a minute, and if she has hard copies, I want somebody to go make a copy for us and for the citizens out here in the audience.
I have a USB if you want to.
So let's, hang, it's 7:19, about 7:30.
Oh, yeah.
It's 7:29 and we're gonna reconvene our city council meeting and we're gonna start over from the beginning, just so everybody understands. Because
After the pledge.
after the, well, no, I mean, the public hearing, not everything, just at the public hearing. No, you don't need to do that.
Arbor Day.
So we're gonna have the applicant come up and, is it Stephanie? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Is Stephanie? So we'll start over from the beginning.
Okay.
Just state your name and address for the record for me, please.
Sure.
So we can just be clear.
Of course. Thank
Okay.
you. Stephanie Hopkins, 5725 North Discovery Way, Boise. Thank you for having us here this evening. Really excited to talk about Star River Ranch North. Staff did a great job of summarizing our request. This is a property that's zoned R5 and we are requesting a preliminary plat tonight. So the property is located south of Highway 44 and west of Bent Lane, also north of Bent Lane, and north of Star River Ranch North. Star River Ranches 1 and 2. As mentioned, and as Sean mentioned, this property was rezoned back in 2007. That original proposal included 108 buildable lots, which would have been considerably more dense than what we are proposing tonight. We're requesting 71 developable lots and 12 common lots for 83 lots altogether. We are in agreement with the conditions of the staff report, and we'll be making changes to the preliminary plat if you approve us this evening to include detached sidewalks as well as some of the other changes that were noted in the staff report. So I mentioned earlier that we have made changes since the initial preliminary plat that we submitted back in March of last year. This is the original preliminary plat that we submitted. We've been coordinating with CHD4 on drainage facilities that they allow. They don't allow seepage beds or drainage to be located within right-of-way. We initially had our design centered around that. So we have made revisions, and this is the new preliminary plat that we are now proposing. The result of including drainage out of the right-of-way was losing a buildable lot. So we're now proposing 71 buildable lots as opposed to the 72 that we were proposing before, and 12 common lots. We're proposing 3 points of access. Balto Street will go to the east and access Bent Lane, which is a collector. It goes to State Highway 44. And Silverthorne Avenue will access Bent Lane to the south. Silverthorne will also access Landruff Lane, which is going to be a future collector. That will be constructed by property that's directly adjacent to Highway 44. But we'll be proposing a connection there. Let's see. We're not proposing any variances to code requirements and are consistent with the old comp plan as well as the new comp plan density ranges that are allowed. We're proposing 2.99 dwelling units an acre, and comprehensive plan, the current one aims for 3 units an acre. Under the R5 district, we would be allowed or could propose 5 units an acre. So we are quite low compared to what would be permitted under code. Lot sizes range from about 8,000 square feet to 14,000 square feet with an average lot size of 9,280 square feet. this is our landscape plan. As I mentioned, one of the staff conditions is to include attached sidewalks. We're currently showing attached sidewalks, so we would modify our preliminary plat to include those within an easement and adjust all of our building envelopes and everything accordingly. With the detached sidewalk, we would also be including parkways, which would increase our open space that we are providing for the community and include more trees, which will be a nice amenity for folks. Open space in amenities, we are providing 4.34 acres of open space, which is about 18% of the property. And we're proposing 3.63 acres, which is considered qualified open space, which is about 15%. That exceeds code requirements. 10% is required overall, or I'm sorry, 10% is required to be qualified open space and 15% is required overall. We are proposing a large central open space that will be accessible to all residents. And it's large enough to accommodate soccer fields. There will also be seating and amenities for folks to recreate and hang out. And then we're proposing to improve Lot 1, Block 1 of Star River number 1 with a dog park. So that lot is currently unimproved, and this would be part of our amenities that we'd be proposing for the subdivision, is to improve it with seating area and then dog facilities with waste bags and all of that good stuff. So as I mentioned, we're proposing about 18% open space. 15% of that is qualified usable open space. So these are the typical home elevations that could be expected for this subdivision. Very consistent and compatible with what's in the area. There are some very nice homes located to the south, and this is meant to emulate and be kind of another phase with those types of homes. So contemporary architecture, they will likely have, they don't have any builders set out now, and they don't have plans yet, but that'll be determined in the future. So and this development is being developed. So the developer for Star River Ranch number 2 is the same developer as this subdivision. The original Star River Ranch was developed by somebody else, and the current developer acquired it in 2013 and has kind of taken over on the second phase and plans to do so with this phase as well. So we're looking forward to this project. I think it'll be a really nice addition in this area. I actually took a little tour of the neighborhood before I came in, and it's very nice. And I think this will be a really great addition, and it's consistent with the city's code as well as the comprehensive plan. I do have members of our development team here. If you have questions for them that I can't answer, and otherwise I'll stand for questions.
Okay, any questions of the applicant at this time? Oh, okay, the council first, but you guys will come up and speak. No, you can't, don't ask it yet. So hold on. Okay, Ms. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mayor. So even though it shares the same name as the Star River Ranch to the south, this is technically it's a different subdivision. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Salmonson, yes, this is a different project. It is being developed by the same developer, and he intends for it to be a phase within Star River Ranch, but it's going to be a standalone project. It might be incorporated into the HOA and CCNRs, and we can speak to that in more detail.
Okay, and so to me, it seems like with the dog park piece, I mean, that's in a different subdivision. And so I'm having problems like understanding like why the like that piece of property in a different subdivision is like included in this one.
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Salmonson, it's an interesting situation. And I think the reason, so I actually spoke with our client about this because there's a little bit of history that I wasn't privy to, and I don't think was included in your application, but or in the application or the record. This property was initially, Star River Ranch subdivision number 1 was developed in Canyon County under conditional use permit. They at that time had not included, so this is the plat, this is Star River Ranch number 1, it's to the south. Is there a pointer on this? Or, Well, so up at the north east corner, kind of where there's a point of bearing where it says East 116, that's where Lot 1, Block 1 is now located. Originally, it was not part of the subdivision, but when it was back in, I think, 2017, they looked at incorporating it into the city of Star. And at that time, they replatted it as well to include Lot 1, Block 1 within the subdivision. So that's kind of how it became incorporated into Star River Ranch number 1. It wasn't ever, from what I can understand, it was never part of the original subdivision or part of their open space requirements. But that's kind of the history behind it. And I don't know if we have Jeff Bauer here too, that might be able to kind of add some information based on his research. He's our client's counsel. So
He does seem to want to talk.
I know he's,
You come up and state your name and address, please, for the record.
This one. Mayor, Councilmember Salmonson, Jeff Bauer, 601 West Bannock in Boise. This is confusing and I've been getting up to speed on it in the last couple of days. So I just want to reiterate the plat that Ms. Hopkins just showed, this River Ranch subdivision phase 1 was recorded officially as a Canyon County subdivision. All the plats were of record. It went into foreclosure and was purchased out of foreclosure as it exists today. When, now can we flip to the next slide, please, Stephanie? Or, oh, I have it right here. Sorry. You can see that this going the wrong way. Okay.
presentation.
Sean, will you hit that to presentation?
Slide 12, please. What I was going to say is that phase 1 that was recorded was part of this larger area that was going to be developed in the county, and it just stopped halfway through. So when we came to revitalize this project, which would be the west side of the project, and speaking with the city in 2019, they said, instead of just annexing the existing plat in, why don't you replat that area? And in addition, plat the west half so that we have one collective city plat for this whole area. So speaking to what Stephanie just said, there were no open space requirements in the county at the time. And that's why Lot 1, Block 1 was sort of just attached onto it when we replatted it in 2019 with the city, because it was part of land that that developer owned. And it just needed a home. It was kind of a remnant. So it's not technically open space under your code. It is a common lot owned by the HOA though. So it's undeveloped at this time.
But technically it still belongs, so it belongs to the number 1 subdivision though. Correct.
Mayor, Councilman Samuelson, that's correct. But to kind of piggyback again on what Ms. Hopkins said, our intent for these projects is for them to be integrated. And so we have the ability under the covenants, the CC&Rs, for the existing Star River Ranch to annex more property in. And that's pretty common in bigger multi-phase residential projects. So it will be ours if this is approved, not theirs versus ours. So it'll be a shared amenity.
Okay.
Any further questions? You have more questions?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
just, I'm curious, Councilwoman Salmonson, is your concern or your question around this, is that how it applies to the open space calculation
It is.
or this application?
Right, right. And so it just seems to me like it would be cleaner if it was not included in this in this application, and it was part of, number 1, and they, develop it through that piece. So rather than putting it in this one.
Well, to your point, I don't know if it's cleaner.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that it can be included, period,
But if it
because
was,
it's not part of this plot.
right, yeah,
So that's the
Yeah,
challenge I
it's-
think that we're all having on this, because I have a concern with that too, that we're taking a piece of it, another plat, and applying it to this plat to create open space, which doesn't make sense to me. I know you have an intent that you want to combine these, which I would disagree with. I think it should be two separate subdivisions because I can almost assure you, based off the letters that I get, that these folks in here are saying that they didn't know that we're going to add more subdivisions to this current. I was on the original council, so was Councilman Nielsen when this came in to the city in 2017 originally, and we never discussed anything like that as far as I can remember, right? So that's where I'm at with that.
Mr. Mayor, Council.
John,
Just want to remind you that that lot is part of this application.
how does it become part of an application when it's part of another platted subdivision? That's the confusing part for us. I don't know if Chris, are you online that you can answer that for us? Our city attorney?
Mayor, I am online. I don't know if I can answer it. I haven't seen the whole application. Sean might be able to explain how it was tied together. I mean, obviously, in a normal setting, when you have, one subdivision that includes certain property, and it would become part of that plat. Now, I don't know when this was originally platted, if this parcel was considered an out parcel. Or, sometimes they're labeled on the plat as, kind of not part of the plat or something like that. I'm not sure I don't know the history of it. So it's a little hard for me to give you a conclusive answer on how they can, include something from a previous development in this development. But it sounds like Sean may have some background or some history on this that might be enlightening for everybody.
He's shaking his head no.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to pretend to be smarter than any of our attorneys here in the room. Yet, I think from my perspective, it's wonderful that this lot, that you want to develop it. I think a dog park would be a great amenity. And I want to see the number, the calculation for open space that's usable, that's minus this lot to be considered for this application.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Wheelock?
the difference is now that we're doing detached sidewalks, we have an 8-foot strip around the whole perimeter of this application that's about to go open space, right? And that's going to be part of that calculation. Usable, I don't know that I would agree that it's usable compared to what we're talking about, but it's at least the other side of on the same side of a collector road as the subdivision that we're talking about. Right? We're moving the open space from the other side of the road to their subdivision.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And as far as usability, I mean, you put trees in a park, the park's considered usable, although you can't walk where the trees are, right? So I look at the sidewalk, kind of the same thing. There's trees along it.
It's a different analogy I've never heard of before.
So, Mr. Mayor, Council, if you look at their calculations there, qualified open space is 3.38 within the Star River Ranch North, the application you have before you, which is 14%. And so the council member Wheelock is correct by adding those detached sidewalks, that area, that'll bump it up to the 15% that's required. So my advice is let's forget about the dog park as far as this plat. If they want to build it and have it shared with both the subdivisions, I think they can do that on their own. And that'll make it, I think that'll make it cleaner.
Because when looking at this right here is telling us then that they have enough open space, qualified usable open space on its own, standing on its own within that.
With those
Or within the-
additional
All right.
landscape strips, yes, they will have the 15%.
I think that answers
Yep,
your
yep,
question.
perfect.
All right. Go ahead,
And Mayor
sorry.
Chadwick, I won't reiterate everything that was said, but we agree with Councilmember Wheelock and staff in terms of the calculation. And really the reason we added this in is due to the continuity piece, right? So it is a lot in a prior subdivision, but when you look at it spatially, it is closest to this portion of we're going to call it the north phase. So that's why we're showing it here, because we do think it'll be used as an amenity for these residents.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant at this time?
Sure, I'll have an.
Councilwoman?
Okay, so if we take, I think we should take that lot out. And I would encourage you, I think it would be great to, if you can build it into that dog park, great amenity. But I think just back to this piece. So then we are left with, for amenity wise, we have the soccer field. And what other amenity? How many amenities are required? Sean, 2. Okay. And so we take that dog park out. And so then we're going to need another one.
So Mayor Chadwick, Councilmember Selmanson, what we'll need to do is in that central amenity, we'll probably look to add some playground equipment or some other type of amenity that would qualify.
Okay.
But we're happy to work with staff to meet that 2 amenity requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was concerned with that. I mean, that's looks like a large, grassy area. And well, soccer field would be great. I don't know if it really, to me, in my mind, like, that soccer field is just serving that neighborhood, and it's just a green, beautiful, grassy field. Would it be really used, by the residents, rather than just open space? So, yeah, I'd like to see, another real amenity usable by, that's not just running in the field. So thank you.
Understood. Mayor Chadwick, Councilmember Selmanson, we'd certainly accept a condition that we have to add an amenity to that main open space.
I think she's talking about not doing a soccer field and doing 2 amenities. Because the soccer field, and I hear where she's going, you have 71 houses. The likelihood of that really being used as a soccer field is very small, unless the HOA is going to build lines and put netting and all that stuff up, right? I don't think that's going to happen.
Mayor Chadwick, we will accept a condition, however you'd like to word it, as it relates to amenities in the central area. We'll remove the soccer field and put in 2 of your other qualified.
I think it'd be better for everybody.
Yeah.
Because they
Thank
can
you.
play soccer on any open grass.
Okay.
So I do want to ask a question though. I'm sorry. Are
I'm
you
done. That's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry. I do want to ask a question, Ms. Stephanie. Speaking of that open space there's a part in the packet on the application I looked at that talks about this being a drainage area. So what does that look like and how is that gonna, especially in an area that's got a lot of high water?
Sure.
And how is that going to stay open without the high water in there to be a good open space for people to use?
Mr. Mayor, our team actually worked on that a pretty a long time. I don't know how else to say it, but our landscape team wanted to make sure that it was going to be a usable pond area. So it's a retention basin that will use some on-site infiltration, make sure that it does drain adequately to be able to be used as open space. Engineers tend to like to stick drainage in any kind of open space area. So our team is really good at making sure it's actually usable.
So how deep is that going to be? Do we know?
I don't know offhand. I can look at the plat and see if it indicates.
And you can answer that when you come back up.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'd be
after.
great.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock?
I had a question. You described the park strips that are going to be created because of the detached sidewalks. When you say more trees, are you talking about 4 trees on a road or a tree in front of every building lot? What does that look like?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Wheelock, I'm not really sure what code requires. I think it's probably 1 tree per 35 feet or something along those lines.
And that's correct. 1 for 35.
That's
Yeah.
usually we try to place those around driveways and it's
Yeah.
a little bit flexible with the final plat and stuff, but
I didn't know if more trees was 1 tree to a road or 35 trees every 35
sure.
feet to a tree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions of the applicant at this time?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
just one more on the drainage area. Do you know, or can you find out from your engineers, is there a requirement to line that with bentonite?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Nielsen, I don't believe it's probably going to be deep enough to require that, but I'll reach out and see if I can get an answer on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And when you come back up, will you explain what that is? Because some people don't know.
Sure.
It's impervious clay.
Oh, okay.
Mayor Chadwick, I do have another question.
Okay, Councilwoman? Sorry.
So, is there sidewalks on Bent Lane on this going south? And I mean, I guess all of it. Are you in for the main collector? I don't see them on the plan. Just want to confirm that they'll be installed.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Salmonson, yes, there are sidewalks. I can't remember if they're detached or attached off the top of my head. So detached, thank you.
They're detached. I believe they have
Detached.
to be detached in the start, yeah. So I will ask one more. So that Bent Lane collector local on the south side, that's intended to be built? Half of it at least, I think, or what is it the whole thing or?
Mr. Mayor, it'll be half
Half?
of that. And I think CHD4 actually required that we dedicate additional right of way to make sure that it's expanded to half of what a collector width would be for them.
And that road's gonna obviously get named something else. Oh, no, we got Bent Road and then Bent Lane. Is that what is happening?
Mr. Mayor, we actually proposed to change the name, but Cannon County has this in their records. And I think in order to change it, we would have to get the permission of folks that
Okay.
currently front on it. And I'm not sure that would be possible.
Okay. All right, you got another question,
I've-
Councilman Wheelock?
One more question. If with that amenity, the dog park or whatever that unknown lot is, with that being separate, are you open to the discussion of having two HOAs, one for this subdivision and one for the other subdivision?
Mayor Chadwick, Councilmember Wheelock, yes.
Great, okay. And I'm sorry, I got one more. I apologize. This is a lot of questions we're asking ahead of time. So all the internal pathways that you have outside of the detached sidewalks, are those all intended to be paved, concrete? Like like in between the south side there, yeah, where those green spaces are? Because this shows pathways, but we expect them to be paved.
Mr. Mayor, if that's your expectation, I think
Okay.
our client's amenable to that. I don't know that we've gotten that far on the design.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And
All right.
Mayor Chadwick, sorry, I'm going to
Sir.
interrupt. I apologize. Councilmember Wheelock, I'm sticking with my answer as to your question, which is yes. But just as a reminder, that means that the amenities, including the dog park, wouldn't be shared. So what we think would be a great amenity for the north subdivision, the dog park would not be usable by them.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the public testimony portion of this. And then we have Scott Hedrick. Come up and we'll remind everybody you have 3 minutes and please state your name and address for the record.
Mayor Chadwick and council, my name is Scott Hidrick. I reside currently at 5584 West Lake River Lane in Boise. I purchased a lot in phase 2 of Star River Ranch from the developer, which is Tim Eck, who is the developer of this Star River Ranch North. And so I just wanted to say that everything that Mr. Eck has portrayed to me in the purchase of my lot in phase 2 of Star River Ranch, he's followed through on all the commitments, the grading, everything that's was said to me and promised to me in the purchase of that lot has come true. And this is an important project for me because I'm going to be living out there. So I really like the fact that the density is under the 3 homes per acre. And I think that Mr. Eck will do a good job in development of this property. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Hedrick? No? Okay, thank you. Oh man, if I say this wrong, I'm sorry. Miss Erica Erdozane? Oh.
ER.
Yeah, so state your name and address and then spell your last name for,
It's Erica Erdozane, spelled Erdozain. And I reside at 6327 Salmon Falls Lane. And that is in phase 2 of Star River Ranch. I'm one of 4 homeowners that bought a lot directly from Tim and brought my own builder. And I'm also currently on the board of directors for the HOA for Star River Ranch. As a point of reference, I was the past president of a homeowners association on a project very similar to this, but I have to say it was much more complex. It was 5 sub-communities that were combined into one. So the board, we've been working really hard to make sure that we've had some continuity. We're currently working through some wetland issues. That's about half done. We've also formed a landscape committee. And we really are working on a wide variety of amenities to bring to this current community as well as this proposed community. So as Scott mentioned, having bought the lot directly from Tim, he was very accommodating. He communicated, he was very educational to my husband and I. This was the first time we bought a lot and built our house. And so we learned a lot through the process. And it goes back to the very first time where, shame on us, we were out trespassing and I was kicking the dirt on the property markers, and up pulls Tim, offering a hand to help us find the property markers, answer any questions. And at that point, I didn't even know he was the developer. So over time, I've really appreciated him bringing me up to speed on, what are some of the requirements, not only in STAR, but Idaho law, things around drainage. And he's just been great to work with all the way around. And so I really appreciate that, this particular project, it is zoned R5, but he's being mindful of the look and feel and only building 3 houses versus the 5 that he could build. And really the homeowners association, depending on what is decided here, I know that currently Star River Ranch, there's a certain number of amenities already provided, but they're really wanting more. So to me, thinking that these 2 projects potentially could be combined to share some various amenities could be a greater benefit for the overall neighborhood. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Miss
All right,
Erica.
thank you very much.
Someday I'll say it actually correct someday. Thank you. Okay. Ooh. I think it's Pete. I can't, or is it Bilky? Biliki. Got it. All right. And you must spell that one as well for our city clerk.
Bilicki, Bilicki. Live at 6724 Bigwood Way, Star River Ranch. For me, I don't support the subdivision at all. We purchased in Star River Ranch. It's a high-end community, curvilinear streets, large lots, over $1 million homes. This is more of a high-density, closer subdivision, looking at the zoning that you have at the current zoning and how they're leaving it, that gives it kind of a perspective of, yeah, we've got a lower density, but I don't think 108 units would ever get approved here anyway. I think there'd be so much opposition to it, it would never happen. As far as the HOAs combining, you've got a high-end community. We do have a small rec center, and we do have a small pool. There's already been a lot of objections regarding that facility. And to combine another 72 lots for that facility would be just overwhelming for Star River Ranch. We bought in not knowing, was never disclosed, that this property potentially could become part of this HOA. So if this does move forward, I would see that there are 2 separate HOAs. Whatever amenities are needed for this subdivision are part of that subdivision. That there's no commingling between the 2 subdivisions and no commingling between the 2 HOAs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick, any questions of Mr. Pete? All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it, sir. We got Lyle. You didn't check whether you wanted to speak or not. You're good? Okay. Okay. And just want to verify, is it Truda? Truda? No speak? Okay, very good. All right. Thank you. Sheet here. I'm just going to ask everybody because we didn't get yes or no's on everything. So, Mr. Eddie, did you want to speak? Okay.
My name's Eddie Sugden, S-U-G-D-E-N. I live at 6278 Chateau Court. So when you ask questions about the dog park, I am the blue house that you showed on the photo. The dog park is right behind me. So I'm in Star River Meadows, which is part of Star River Ranch on the first street you come to. As far as the HOA issues go, the pool has a capacity of 88. There's a sign on the outside. I don't know if that means inside, outside, or both. My concern is to put another community in there. We have one amenity in Star River Ranch right now. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. one amenity, which is the pool. That's it. I can't get in there right now because I was going to take more pictures, but it's got me locked out. I'm concerned with 72 homes. We have about approximately 135. They're going to be total built in ours, not counting the back pond area that has 5 lots. How are we going to accommodate if we merge both of those together with that many? I think it's going to be really tough. We have tons of kids already in the subdivision. Bent Lane and 44 is coming down from 4 lanes to 2. Correct me if I'm wrong right now. The bus situation out there for the kids, and I have a 9-year-old, it's probably going to be a nightmare once we get a bunch more kids out there. I'm concerned with 4 lanes merging down to 2. The people already don't stop for that. So now when we have cars lining along that street on Bent Lane and 44, because the bus service has told us we are not coming into your community. We will not pick kids up there. It's too much of a liability. So I'm here talking about that part of it. Kids walking along that dirt area along the road. There is no sidewalks. The sidewalks start right there, the area where they want to put the dog park. Dog park's right behind my house and another neighbor's house. I really don't want a bunch of barking dogs back there. That's just me personally. It's part of Star River Meadows, not part of this new development. We were also told in the pictures we would have a playground for the kids. Haven't gotten any of that. We have tons of kids. There's nothing for them to play with. We got grass areas. We were told it's coming, but now we have this new development. It looks like they're going to put some stuff in there, but if we share it all, I just don't see how we're going to coexist with over 200 or 220 homes, correct my math, with all these kids and all this schools and, all the traffic along there. How are we going to make this work? We have no internet there. Some houses have internet. We have no internet. We have no high-speed internet there, which we were told was going to happen. I watched them lay the cables. They won't hook up to our homes. So we're running off routers. I know this seems small and not in the big picture, but when you have people that work from home, there's a lot of things that we haven't gotten there. What I want, I love my neighbors. I love the area. I want the new area. If it goes in,
You got about 10 seconds.
That's fine. I want everybody to be happy. I don't want them to go through the road bumps that we're going through now. And it's a lot of speed bumps. I just want it to thrive.
Okay.
So that's my take on it. And
Just, okay,
one more thing. It is not Star School District in the proposal. It's Middleton.
it's Middleton, correct. Anything on the west side of Canada is Middleton. But I do have a question
Yeah.
though. So are you saying that the school bus stop currently is at Highway 44 in Bent Lane?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So
Mayor, oh, go ahead.
Chris, will you make a note of that, chief, so we can talk to Middleton School District about this issue? I didn't know that. That's concerning. Well, I know, but we can put a little more heat on that to try to get that to change because I don't like that either. So chief will take a note of that.
I've actually went as far as measuring bus size and turning radius. We have enough room for the kids. So
Yeah. Okay. So Miss Jennifer, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So just so I am clear too, so you said, so where's the pickup?
At the Highway 44 in
Highway
Bent
44
Lane.
in Bent Lane.
Yeah.
All right. And so, I mean, do you, like, some of the children probably walk, but others, do you just line up the cars until the
There's-
school bus gets there?
there's 2 children that rock from a previous house over there behind by where they want to put the dog park. Usually a lot of us take them home because we don't like them walking along the dirt.
Mhm.
We line up on the side of the road
Mhm.
and get the kids off in the morning at roughly 7:10, and we're there at 4:15. Bus unloads and they come by, but you guys all know these people don't stop. And so with 4 lanes going into 2, my concern as a parent,
Mhm.
we need something better for these kids.
Okay, thank you.
We do. And I will tell you, we're doing some of that project right now along 44 where we're going to have that at least on the west or east side from Bent Lane this way is a center turn lane. Will go the entire way. Right. So we're trying to get that stuff taken care of out in that direction. So thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. Let's see, Mr. Tom Moore.
I'm Tom Moore, 21691 Bent Lane.
Okay.
So I want to say to Tim, I really appreciate the reduction in lots from the original proposal back in 2007. And also the reduction that you did in the back of those other phases, just to reduce the number of cars. So one question I have, I'm adjacent to this property and I was never notified of the neighborhood that occurred. So I'm probably going to come to City Hall and look at that log of who was contacted. My wife and I were never contacted. So a lot of the questions I have probably would have been answered at the neighborhood meeting, but didn't know about it. So right now there's a lot of advertising signs, and there's a sign going to the southeast corner of the plot there. There's a bunch of signs advertising, coming soon, this development, and it makes it a site restriction. So it's when you stop at the stop sign, you can't see left, you can't see right. We've contacted Highway District number 4. Anybody here from Highway District number 4? Because I'm very disappointed they don't about it. They've done nothing.
So make sure you
Anyway.
when you speak, just speak this way.
Okay,
Don't
I'm sorry.
talk to them.
I'm sorry.
It's got to get on
So,
the microphone.
Anyway, I think my question there is about, it's going to be a 6-foot vinyl fence. I'm just very concerned about the sight distance from the stop sign while you're traveling east on Bent Lane to turn north on Bent Lane. Because right now you can't see, you have to keep nudging out to the intersection, but those signs are temporary. I don't want a permanent site restriction there. If that's the case, I'm going to ask the Highway District for a 3-way stop sign there to stop all directions. And then another thing about, they have a sign about rules for the construction, about hours of construction and loud music and animals. I know there's no laws against it other than noise complaints. But they're not enforced. I've gone over and talked to crews working at 9 p.m., being very loud with nail guns, loud music. And I don't speak fluent Spanish, but I know slang when it's thrown at me. So I threaten to call the police, and that's when the noise stops. The noise ordinance needs to be enforced during construction times. I guess that's about it. And like I say, I would have asked these questions, but I didn't know about a neighborhood meeting. And I am on the south side, the big lot there. So I'm right across the street from this development. I'm well within the notification distance.
Sure. Just a couple things for you, just real quick.
Yes, sir.
Our noise ordinance in the city of Star is 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
So whatever they put on the sign is not enforceable by our police. They have to enforce the ordinance within the city. Just so you're aware of that.
I'm in unincorporated Canyon County. So I am
Unincorporated.
unincorporated.
So
Canyon
if
County,
it's
across
happening
the
in
street from the city.
Right. If it's happening in the city of Star city limits, it's a 7 to 10 timeframe, not the counties.
Okay, so if my
Yeah.
piece is being disturbed in unincorporated Canyon County,
I'm just telling you what.
I'm going to call the
rule
Canyon
is.
County Sheriff and have them come
You
out
can
because
yeah,
my
you can call-
piece is being disturbed in the county.
You can do that.
No,
But they're
that's
gonna,
not, I
and they're
know.
gonna look at the city of Star's ordinances too. I'm just letting you know that.
Okay,
And then on the vision triangle, so if the signs are in the way of the vision triangle, even today.
Yeah.
We can have them moved because they shouldn't be in the vision triangle. We have a rule for that. In on these roads. So
yes, sir.
if you have them, get a hold of Ryan Field here at our office and he'll have them adjusted.
Okay. And my concern, I know they're temporary, that once the construction starts, they're going to be removed. So,
But even that, it shouldn't even be in,
Right.
it should be in that.
and that's, I expressed my concerns to the Highway District and nothing was done about it because the Highway District,
Right.
we are in Canyon County Highway District 4, they did nothing to enforce that.
Yep.
So, but like I say, those are temporary. I can deal with it. I'm just concerned about the permanent, the 6-foot vinyl
Well,
fence, if
and
that's going to be
I'm
the
gonna answer
same.
that question too, is in our code, we don't allow it. It's same thing. There's a code for where the fences have to be for the same vision triangle.
Okay.
So there is things put in place to address that. So you don't have that issue on trying to pull out in the traffic, right?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Anything else of Mr. Tom? No? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay. Let's see here. Miss Hillary? Did you want to speak? No? Okay. Let's see. We got Sean. Did you want to speak? What's the score? 3-1 still. Dang it. It's World Baseball Classic. He was our guy checking it out for us. See, we got Miss Patty. You're good? Let's see. I think Miss May. Did you want to speak? Okay, go ahead. Come up here. State your name and address.
May Andrade, ANDRADE, 6689 Bigwood Way.
You can pull that right down to you. It's all mobile. There you go.
Oh, it's modern. Mayor, Council, thank you for hearing us out. I really appreciate it. Homeowners of the original Star River Ranch. I just want to, I won't take up a lot of time. I just want to second some of the things that have been, some of the issues that have been raised. What we purchased and why we purchased in Star River Ranch, it was marketed to us a certain way as a luxury community, not too many homes. A lot of us moved a long way, to live in this neighborhood. We weren't told about this other subdivision. A lot of quote unquote amenities were marketed to us. Right now, the only amenity I'm aware of is this little rec room and pool. And as it's been stated, is small. I don't even know if there's furniture in it. We've really had to fight to at least get something usable by the houses that are in our community now. There's no way it can sustain all these other homes. And so my desire is for this new community to be their own. They can have the grass area or whatever. But I do believe that it's only right that the dog park area and the at least the pool and the rec house stay in ours, because we were told like it was marketed with lakes and all this stuff. And even our river access is kind of obstructed by Tim's property, and we can't access all the lakes. We can only access the one small one, and that's even hard to get to. And no internet, as has been stated, and we work from home. It's been disappointing in a lot of ways. And this would just be even worse, like based on what we've been told, compared to what we've had. So I just wanted to kind of second some of the things that some of the other residents have mentioned.
Okay. Do you have any questions of Ms. May? No? Thank you. I think, is it Mr. Adam? Did you want to speak? Okay.
Thank you for hearing me, Mayor and council people. That was my roommate, my wife. I'd like to
Oh, yes,
Adam-
name and address. Real quick.
Adam Andrade at 6689 Bigwood Way. So I'd like to just, have you ever driven to Star River Ranch?
Mhm.
You look on the right, you see these signs of like, a guy fly fishing, and just open fields, and it's marketed as a luxury community. I mean, it says that. The words matter, right? You guys debate over the words quite a bit. And we looked at a number of communities before we got here, and we went over to like what I would call a luxury community is the one in Eagle that has like the golf course and the Legacy. That's correct. We that was our second choice, but we believe the vision, we believe the signage, and and we got in, and now they're proposing this expanded, place, which is fine, but having us share all that with so few amenities really makes something that wasn't luxury in the first place, even less so. And as my wife mentioned, they show all this fly fishing and like open space and stuff, and we have like 100 yards of river access, and then there's a very clear sign, no access. Now Tim was amiable and did allow us to have access at one point, but I'm not sure if that's changed or still the same, because we were able to open it at one point, but now we can't. The other thing is that there is no internet. That's not his problem. But if he builds this and the internet access, the cable, the fiber isn't hooked up, that is going to kill internet for everybody else, because those towers have capacity limits. Okay, they can only handle so much of these. Like, we're getting clobbered with, we're just all living in a microwave right now because everybody has these wireless interfaces. It's dangerous and, that's debatable, but not only is it dangerous, but there isn't going to be the capacity. So like people are not going to have internet. So the last thing I wanted to say is that right now I feel like I'm being put upon to fix our lot. Our lot is openly out of code violation. It's along Bigwood Way. There's
So we have to keep it to this project here, not about what's happening.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. Anyway, so I'd like to, recommend that these HOAs be separate and to at least preserve the luxury that we have at this point.
Okay, and I just a couple, that's good timing, right on 3 minutes. So you must have practiced, right?
Yeah.
So on the internet thing, the code when Star River Ranch came in for the city of Star it was not very good in 2017. We did some updates since then, I think 3 of them since that time frame. So now in any new subdivision, we require in the joint trench an actual conduit for fiber, right?
Okay.
That goes into the houses and runs up. My hope is when we get enough of these, that we get some of these fiber companies actually that'll come out here and start running that fiber into these areas, right? So we can start improving that internet. But that's where we're at. And we were so behind the times in the past, and we're catching up now with all that. Just it doesn't help you today, but it at least allows you to see what we're doing to try to get that fiber connections to our city.
Any schedule?
We do have, so fiber, Fat Beam is actually running fiber right now for West Ada School District on the Ada County side, but they have some plans to go that direction in the future, but they haven't said anything yet. You got to get that project first, and that creates a great big loop for all the schools in West Ada.
But that doesn't help us though, right?
Not today, no.
So no schedule as far.
Nothing right now, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Any questions though of Mr. Adam real quick before he goes? All right, thank you. I do want to she didn't sign up, but do you have a question? You can come up and ask a question. Okay, very good. I just want to make certain because you were eager earlier. So, okay, gotcha. Okay. Got it. Perfect. No, that's okay. It's okay. All right, so we'll have the applicant come up. Who's coming up to speak?
Mayor Chadwick, council members, Jeff Bauer, 601 West Bannock. I'm going to defer to Stephanie on some of the engineering questions from Councilmember Nielsen, but I'll try to address the comments and questions. I think the majority of the comments and questions related to the HOA and keeping them separate, given that we've already agreed that that is acceptable to us. I won't address each one in line, but I would say this. Star River Meadows, which is a separate subdivision than Star River Ranch, was annexed into the Star River Ranch HOA separately. So those folks, I believe it was Mr. Suggen, his lot would have Suggen, apologize. Suggen, Mr. Suggen. So again, his plat was developed in the county with no open space requirements. And because DOS Investments, the applicant here, annexed that project into Star River Ranch 1 and 2, that's the reason they have amenities now. He also spoke about a desire for more grassy open space because Star River Ranch, is on the river with lakes. There isn't a lot of grassy open space. We have that in Star River Ranch North, and I'll leave it at that. It's up to you guys if you decide those are good shared amenities or not. On the buses, our understanding is that they're not coming down Bent Lane at this time because there's no circulation. All the roads in Star River Ranch are dead end and cul-de-sacs. So with this project having a loop, there would be a good opportunity for a safe bus stop in there that the school district will take a bus through. Mr. Mayor, you addressed all the things I wanted to say about sightlines, so I won't add anything there.
So just to address that real quick, on the current stuff that's there, can we take a look at that and get them out of the vision triangle?
That was my next comment, Mayor Chadwick. We will get those signs out of vision triangle to the extent they're there. As it relates to internet, phase one, again, fully developed by a separate developer. The roads were put in, landscaping before it went defunct. There is conduit for fiber there. And so it's our understanding that Sparklight has pulled permits to try to run fiber in that conduit. According to Mr. Eck, they're just waiting for those permits to be granted.
Who they apply to?
CHD4, I believe, because it's in the right of way.
Sean,
Oh,
make a note of
and-
that so we can talk to them about that.
And Ms. Hopkins is whispering that there's also an irrigation district at play because we have a crossing.
Okay.
Unless there are any questions, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hopkins on the questions as it related to drainage and the open space.
Let's have her ask and then we can
Great.
go back and forth or talk to us and then we can have these guys ask.
Thank you, Mayor Chadwick, council members. So I did text with our engineer. He's not in great cell phone reception, so he kind of gave me a couple of answers. Basically, we're waiting for a geotechnical analysis to be completed, so that'll dictate exactly what the pond design will look like. Likely, we'll try to get it as deep as we can with the shelf or something along those lines and still have usable open space for the fields or whatever maybe gets located there. But that'll probably be determined in final design more so than there are some unknowns that we have right now. So bentonite will likely not be used though, is my guess. So again, we'll look at that as we get into final design more, but we use it on a lot of our ponds or a lot of our clients do, and it seems to work really well.
Yeah. History here in Star is the bentonite, as it's been used to line ponds, has actually prevented them from draining. And so these usable open areas that have been lined with bentonite are no longer usable. Actually, they never were. And so if your intent is for this to be the usable open space and a drainage swale, then lining it with bentonite will preclude, it'll only become a drainage collector. And that's something that we'll need to avoid. So it gets a little tricky because CHD4 will specify how that gets constructed. And so what I'll be inclined to do here tonight is depending on how this goes, but to add language that if it is lined with bentonite, then you'll need to come up with additional open space because this won't be considered usable open space.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Nielsen, we'd be amenable to that. I don't think that our plan was to use bentonite, but
Okay. Do you have more the same as Stephanie or is that?
I think, did I cover all your questions on that? I can't remember if there was
Yeah.
one other. Can you remember?
Okay, do we have questions of the applicant?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock.
the fences that you've outlined in are you proposing the whole outside of this project be surrounded by a 6-foot vinyl fence?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Wheelock, here's a fencing diagram to kind of show you, because I have a hard time remembering all of this, but on the perimeter, we're proposing 6-foot vinyl fence. So yes, on the entire perimeter, we would adhere to the vision triangles, make sure they're out of the setback so folks can see. And then on the interior, adjacent to common open space lots would be a 6-foot with or 4-foot solid with a 2-foot lattice. And then we would have open vision fencing along the dog park.
Along the dog park that is now not in this HOA?
Yes, but
Just checking.
we
Because
can.
it looks like it's next to a house and yeah. Okay.
All right. Any further questions of the applicant? Now's your time.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So with the Star River Ranch South, is that completely built out residential wise, or are there still homes being built?
Mr. Mayor, go ahead. Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Salmonson, it's still being built out. I don't know exactly how far they are in progress, but as I mentioned, I drove through tonight. There are several vacant lots. So,
okay.
I don't know if Jeff has anything to add.
And how many phases are in that?
Sean? Or do you guys know how many phases? Maybe you can ask. Yeah.
Chadwick, Councilmember Selmanson, there are essentially, there's two subdivisions. There's subdivision 1 that we're looking at now and subdivision 2, which is south of this.
And so in the south phase, I know it's not part of this, but just that is not completely built out yet. Okay. And how many, do you have any more phases that you're still, have to submit for, or is that all, it's just ready to be built?
Mayor Chadwick, Councilmember Selmanson, no more phases as you head south in what we would consider Star River Ranch. We hit the river there. So no additional land.
Okay.
Okay.
And I guess the reason I asked that is I don't know if we can do anything on our side about, are you planning to phase this project?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Salmonson, yes, it would be 2 phases likely, and that would be dependent on what the market's like when they're looking to develop. So it could potentially be 1 phase, but the plan is 2.
And so can we put something in a condition or development agreement that says, the amenities need to be installed, in phase 1? I guess I'm asking us staff. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Mayor Chadwick, Councilmember Selmanson, not that you care, but we are happy with that condition. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock.
I'm assuming if we're doing phase 1, that makes a full circle road so that we can potentially talk to the school district and have the buses come in and do a full circle turnaround and everybody gets their kids safer. That would be a priority.
Yes, and I think we can have other conversations with them on getting those buses in there besides what they're trying to say
Well,
on that. So,
to add to Mr. Mayor, Councilman Wheelock, this is kind of the preliminary phasing plan, conceptual. First phase would be on the south side, so the bus could go in on Balto to the south on Tacanita and then over to Bent Lane and then out. So that
to
would
loop out.
Yeah, you're the one that named the roads. They're tough.
I know, I'm not envying learning those for folks.
But even without this, let's say the market's bad and they don't do this right away, we can go work with the school district to get this bus issue taken care of. So, okay. All right. Any further questions of the applicant? Councilman Nielsen or
No, sir. My questions have been answered. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
No, thank you.
Councilman Wheelock?
Mr. Mayor.
The staff?
I've got one question before the applicants sit down. So prior to your deliberation, we've heard commitments on the amenities, the 2 additional amenities, the detached sidewalks, removing the dog park. I guess a separate HOA if that's the direction you guys go. Did we get a commitment from the applicant to enter into a development agreement to address all these conditions and everything? Okay, just want to get that on the record.
Mayor Chadwick.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor
Okay.
Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
So Sean, to add to your list, the applicant agreed to ensure that the pathways are paved. And that if bentonite is used, that open space won't be considered as part of the calculated open space required, and that they will make other arrangements.
Okay, got it.
Anything further?
And I assume you got just one, the amenities will be installed in phase 1.
Correct.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So in the past, we've been adding in our conditions that we are to install the 2-inch poly fiber line.
Still in there.
So I didn't see it in that, maybe I missed it in the conditions,
We'll
in
make
the
sure-
standard
make
conditions.
sure it gets in
Okay.
Okay, anything further?
That's it.
All right. So thank you for coming up and speaking. It is 8:32 and I'm going to close the public hearing and we're going to move to council deliberations. This is where the council comments Make
Mayor-
the motion.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen.
So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and for those who also sent emails. Public participation is what makes all this process really worthwhile for our city. And it really ultimately helps for us to produce, better decisions up here. I've got just a couple of thoughts. Most of the input that we received was really about, homeowners association stuff. I'm not trying to disregard anything else, but addressing that topic. Unfortunately, this isn't a body that can make judicial decisions based on those type of things. And yet I see that those are very real challenges. Our purpose here, we're considered a quasi judicial body, and our purpose is to really look at the merits of the application as they relate to the Unified Development Code and the city's comprehensive plan. And yet, if there's merit, and I'm not suggesting that there is or is not, but if there's merit to some of the things that folks have shared and have written about with the HOA, there are other places to go to get help with that. And I would encourage you to work with the HOA and to remember that we're all one city, we're all one community, and we all need to work together. And where there are challenges, there is help for that. But Mr. X been building here in this town for a long time, and we've got to know him quite well, and I know that he's got good intent, and so I hope that those kind of things can be resolved. I know that you all have good intent as well. And to the extent that we can help out with that here tonight, I think the one thing that the one instrument that we do have available to us is in the development agreement, the applicant has agreed to make it a separate HOA. I think that given where things are at today, I think that would be advisable. And that doesn't preclude there from ever being an annexation and becoming one HOA in the future. I think that option is there because of your CC&Rs. So, but again, those are things that you're going to have to work out, and I'm going to recommend that we include that as part of the development agreement, that at least initially, that it's treated as a separate HOA. I think that with the other conditions that we've talked about here tonight, the applicant has obviously been very amenable to everything that's been proposed and that we've been talking about. I do find agreement with the staff's recommendation that with these conditions and the staff's recommendation, I do find it consistent with our Unified Development Code and our comprehensive plan, and I'm inclined to support an approval with all the conditions that we've talked about here tonight. I don't know if the rest of the council, if you guys want to chime in here, or do you want me to make a motion? Where are you guys at on it?
Any further deliberation?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So thank you for all of those words, and I completely, and you've stated it very well, much better than I could. So thank you for that. We hear me up here jabbering away. So, and I am in agreement to everything that you said. The one thing that we did not discuss was, I believe, that there was a block waiver that is requested because of the length. It exceeds the 750 feet that, then we need some sort of traffic calming measure, or we can grant that waiver. Personally, I think that we should have them put in some sort of calming measure rather than grant that waiver. So, but otherwise, I think I'm support with all of these conditions and the not granting that block waiver.
You have to grant the block waiver because even with traffic calming, the block lengths they still exceed the 750. So I would recommend you approve the block waiver and recommend that the applicant work with Canyon Highway District 4 on traffic calming.
So I thought it was an either or, but that's not the case.
No, they'd have to redesign the whole subdivision.
If you don't grant a block waiver, then this whole thing doesn't work. 'Cause-
Can't they? Oh, so they can't just like do bulbs or not bulbs, but kind of like.
But you gotta.
That
you
doesn't
gotta-
reduce the block length.
Right.
That just provides the traffic calming. So
Oh, so then
it's recommending
width
to
and all of that.
approve the block waiver
Okay.
and recommend that the applicant work with Canaan Highway District 4 on traffic calming.
Okay. All right.
Anything further?
That is fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Whitlock, anything before, or someone can make a motion?
I'm all for Councilman Nielsen making a motion after I thank the public for coming and having your input and the applicant as well. It's an interesting thing. I'm relatively new and not new at the same time. But it's a vital part of our community to be able to have input to see what is wanted and helps build a better community. We try to be as responsible with our responsibility and responsive to both the community and the developer's rights. And it's not always easy, but input that's productive is helpful and appreciated. And we're grateful. That's all I've got.
Okay, and I'm just gonna make a comment. Just for Mr. X, since he's here, you've heard the concerns from the community. I suggest working with them on your original project to try to address those concerns, just so everybody's in peace and harmony. I mean, that's our goal, right? I always say star equals community, and the only way to do that is to sit down and talk with each other and figure it out, right? So with that, go ahead. If whoever's
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen,
I move that we approve the Star River Ranch North subdivision application with development agreement and preliminary plat with the conditions of approval as specified by staff in the staff report. Also that the applicant has, and that we include in the development agreement that the applicant has agreed to ensure the pathways are paved. That there's a condition that if bentonite is used to line any drainage ponds, that those will no longer be considered usable open space, and that a new plan to put in the open space will be made. That 2 amenities will be constructed in said open space. That a condition, let's see, that the amenities are installed during phase 1 of the development, that we get in there the condition that a 2-inch polyline for fiber optic cable is installed in this, what do you call that, Mayor?
joint trench.
In the joint trench. Thank you. And we recommend that the applicant work with CHD4 to implement any traffic calming measures that may be possible along the extended block lengths. And finally, that at least initially that this as part of the development agreement, that this subdivision be set up with its own HOA. I think that's the extent of the motion. Did I miss anything?
You got everything, Sean?
The dog park is not part of this project. I don't know, maybe you stated that, but I didn't hear it.
I don't see the dog park as part of the project, so I didn't make it part of my motion.
I did want to specify that if you're going to do that, the 2 amenities, make sure that you say that they're not, one of them's not a soccer field, that either one of them's a soccer field,
That
right?
I will include that in the motion, that neither of the amenities is a soccer field.
Sean, you got everything? Did he get everything that we talked about? Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman,
sorry,
Wilson.
before we get to a second, did I need to say anything about detached sidewalks, or is that covered in the staff report?
That's covered in the staff report.
Okay,
but we'll
thank
note-
you.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Wheelock,
Here,
Salmonson,
No, is it a yes?
yes,
Or no?
I'm here and I say yes.
Salmonson,
Here and I.
Nielsen.
Present, and I.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That motion carries. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item 6B. the Naismith Commons. We need to table this to April 4th. The applicant had requested us to do it this hearing, but soon realized he was not going to be in country. He had to go out of country. So I need somebody to make a motion to table this one to April 4th. Anybody?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock.
I make a motion that we'll table the Naismith Commons subdivision to a date to be determined.
April 4th.
April 4th is the date that we're determining.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I second the motion.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Wheelock. Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion's carried. We're gonna go on to item C, the passport acceptance facility ordinance, Title I, Chapter 13. Just so everybody is aware, the clerk's office, Miss Barbara over here has been working hard with Mr. Jacob on getting that all done, and she put a lot of effort into that. We're gonna start doing some passports here in the city of Star, along with pictures. So you could do it all at one-stop shop. So that's a beautiful thing. So do you need to talk to that a little bit about it? Yeah, if you want to real quick, Mr. Jacob.
Okay, so we'll be the first city in Idaho that actually has a passport ordinance because we're charging a fee. So no other city is actually charging a fee for taking photos. That's the whole purpose of this ordinance. It also kind of outlines where we can legally discriminate against hiring an employee. Must be 18 years old and they must be a U.S. citizen, not like one of our other staff members who's Canadian but has a work visa. So yes, fun stuff.
So we actually have 4 folks that will be passport folks only for the city. We hired Miss Kayla, and then Miss Barbara's a backup, and then Jacob's a backup, and then Sandy will be a backup. And they've all passed their tests for it. It's kind of an interesting process. When you think about it, I guess passports are pretty important items, right, for the world. So I think we have to suspend the rules to pass the ordinance. So I need somebody to suspend the rules.
Mayor Chadwick,
Yes, sir.
I move that pursuant to Idaho Code Section 50-902, the rule requiring an ordinance to be read on 3 different days with 1 reading to be in full be dispensed with, and that ordinance number to be determined -2023 be considered after reading once by title only.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor,
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Solomon. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
part of my motion is also to introduce ordinance
Oh, sorry.
TBD
Right.
2023.
We introduced it late, so that'll work. Roll call.
Wheelock.
Still here. Aye.
Salmonson. Nielsen.
Okay, that motion carries. We'll move on to a public hearing for the passport photo services.
We got to do the ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't want to read it. So somebody else is going to read it. So we need to pass the ordinance on the actual ordinance itself. So someone could read that.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman Solomon?
I'll move to approve the ordinance TBD 2023. An ordinance establishing a passport acceptance facility chapter within the city of Star Municipal Code Title I, creating definitions, designating the public sector office, allowing for other travel-related services, creating a trust account, creating for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. We have a motion and a second, and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Move on to item 6D. We have to do a public hearing for the passport photo services. So people can come up and speak if they choose on there.
Aye.
Aye. So basically, because we are adding a fee to our fee schedule of $25 per passport photo, we have to have a public hearing and allow people at the time to testify. We do have purchased the equipment to do these photos. They'll be done upstairs. So it is 8:47, and I will open the public hearing. on this and see if anybody wanted to speak.
The public left.
Well, no, we got a couple here. So no one wanted to speak, but they signed up that said they were in favor.
Elise, do they want to speak?
So do you guys
They're
want to
not-
speak? Anybody want to speak? Chief? Anybody? You guys want to speak? So you want come up here real quick and we can answer that. Yeah. Okay. All right. She didn't want to come up. Well, that's okay. The public can't hear that on here. So, all right. So what we'll do is, the equipment, just to answer that, the camera equipment stuff was about $800 for that, for the camera and the screen. It's got to be very specific photos that you got to take, which is crazy, but they got to have the right lighting and all that good stuff. So I will close this public hearing on the passport photo services and entertain a motion. Say 48.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock.
I make a motion to approve the passport photo services with its $25 passport photo application and
Okay.
other related services.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second by Councilwoman Solomon. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Wheelock,
Hi.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
I
Okay, that motion carries. I entertain a motion to approve resolution for the passport photography services fee.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
I move to approve resolution 001-2023 passport photography services fee resolution.
Okay, do we need to read the whole resolution? Jacob? No. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
That motion carries. Very good. So I just want to thank again, Ms. Barbara and Mr. Jacob for getting that together because that's an important services for our city to move forward. With that being said, it is 8:50. We're at item 7, the adjournment phase, unless everybody wants to stay here.